What's up, guys? Back with another episode of Barbells and Banter. We have a special guest on the episode today, Mr. Matheu Orchard. Great dude, and also a IFBB Pro professional bodybuilder. So we talked a little bit about Matt's kind of introduction into bodybuilding and his history and kind of sports and athletics. The mindset behind, what it takes to be at the top end level of bodybuilding, his journey, some of the shows that he's done, his whole experience up to date, and some of the take homes if people are aspiring to be a bodybuilder, how to approach those shows, from a mental perspective and even a physical perspective. Perfect opportunity right now, guys, to hit that subscribe and follow button. Lots and lots and lots of content and new things coming out in the coming weeks, and we appreciate your support. Won't hold you up. Enjoy the episode.
And I'll be like, damn, how do they know what's going to happen on the podcast before the podcast?
I have a crystal ball. It's actually under here.
And then it wasn't until three podcasts deep, and I was like, oh, they filmed this after. They filmed it after.
Yeah, the hilarious part is we used to have a whiteboard with this topic, this topic, this topic. It sucked, but we had it.
Yeah.
So we could do the intro first, and now we're like, hey, why don't we just record the intro?
Most of the time we've forgotten about what we spoke about as well. So it's like, the podcast is good. Just fucking listen.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah, it's the hardest part to get to the end and then be like, so what did we talk about?
Yeah, I forget all the time.
Yeah.
All right, guess hit us with the news. Are we on, Tam? Yep. All right.
Yeah, so I fucking laughed because we all walked in with hats.
So
I thought that's why you asked me the question.
Oh, okay. So I walked in with a hat because we're
off
going
cycle for the.
we're going on the train, and if we have the mic,
true,
because I'm a YouTube influencer bodybuilder now.
I'm in my.
And I hate the microphone on the singlet.
Well, now I feel like a piece of shit because when we trained together, I made you put it on your singlet.
No, but I didn't wear a hat.
That's why. Clip it to the beard. You'll be all right.
Well, actually,
the whole video
it was more awkward for the first 5 minutes because he had a mic and I didn't. And then he's like, "Do you want a mic?" I'm like, yeah, that'd be great."
Yeah. I didn't even think about it because
I'm just not, so I don't have to talk to your chest the whole session. That'd be great. Thanks.
Because I don't do any of obviously when I film my YouTube
it's
stuff.
Fine. I am you for us. Me and the camera and the technology. I'm just like, I don't know what to do.
I don't know. And then
come lift the weights.
5 minutes later, I was like, no one's going to be able to hear a word he's been saying. And then because Mitch obviously had to edit all the footage, and he was like, I'm so glad you gave Jason a mic after 5 minutes. He goes, I was having to mess with the audio real bad.
Yeah,
like,
bro, fuck. Yeah, you could barely hear what we were talking about. The stuff. Fuck.
You can hear me clearly.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But yeah. So I just wear a hat anyway. 24/7.
Yeah, I usually do. Podcast, it's not friendly. The lighting is doesn't contribute well to the perception of the hair. No, it looks great. My hairline does not.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're aware though.
Yeah. Fuck you, Tam.
He's glad that he didn't have to tell you because it would have made him feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. But I'm also, this is my non-barber week.
Yeah.
The barber's set every second Thursday.
Yep.
So if I don't wear a hat, it's because it's fresh. And the fresh fade.
I reckon a barber needs it every 10 days.
So
optimally,
I told my barber, this is much respect to workshop barbers, Gisbert.
Yeah.
I wore his hoodie on the pod the other day.
Yeah.
And he saw a clip and he watched the whole episode.
Oh, yeah.
The hoodie. Yeah, it's cool. Shout out to Adrian. I told him that I was like, fuck, man, it's just 2 days. It just goes 2 days too early. And he started blading the front edge and the back edge. And it lasts the full 14 now.
Yeah.
He's like, you'll get another couple of days out of this.
I'm a wog.
No, look, there's got to be some fucking privileges to being skinny and white. I
was like, I get the whole head bladed almost.
I can't build muscle, but my hair doesn't grow that quick.
Yeah, it's like the hair's already. I remember when I was in Bali and I got a skin fade, and then he used the foils and then used the blade.
Yeah,
and then he went to the office and grabbed something and come back, and then he ran it again. He's like, "Oh, it's growing back already." He was so surprised. I'm like, "This is my life, brother."
Yeah.
What's the the original Santa Claus movie where he shaves his beard and grows back straight away?
That's 100%. That's you. That is 100% me.
No, the thing that got me the worst was back hair, right?
Yeah.
And like you get to an age where like hair just doesn't stop, right?
Yeah.
For me anyway, like I'm hairy as shit.
Yeah.
And it's like they all like, you know, they put the neck wrap around.
Yeah.
And then like they'll do the back of your hair, and then they like roll it down and they keep going.
Yeah, but then
they take it off.
It's
and
like, where do you stop?
I'm like, do you want me to take my shirt off, bro? You're gonna have to work your whole way down the back.
So you have to like text align your t-shirt. And, like you can stop here, sir.
stop
Take his shirt off. Yeah, that's it. He's got the
Permanent wife beater just from.
I used to play basketball with a guy, and he used to shave his arms and his neck. But then he'd take his jersey off after the game, and it would literally look like a basketball
So he'd have a jersey.
I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, you may as well just shave your name into the back, name and number into the back.
Just
of your
play
head.
like that.
Just play like that. Like you're all good.
I'm pretty fortunate with the body hair. Every few months.
I got mine lasered off now to a manageable level.
I can't because of the tattoos.
Yeah, true. Oh yeah.
Because I thought the same. I didn't
Yeah,
think it would be an issue.
it blurs the ink.
Mm.
Yeah.
But
Makes sense.
It is what it is now.
Yeah. So the topic of the hair thinning came up as we have. Are you 30?
30-ish.
Yeah, over 30.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Well, that's a guy that's over
We're-
30.
We're all over 30.
That's all right. We're on the
So
other
these
side.
are these are the important male
Yeah,
conversations.
yeah.
So you were talking about like going to Turkey and doing the plugs and all that.
Yeah.
And he just showed me a glow up of
Who's this,
guy
sorry?
he worked with, my barber.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, oh, look at this guy. And it's like 27 and fucking gone.
Mm.
Kind of a little bit overweight. And then he showed me his transformation. Like he's in shape. He's got this like chiseled beard that makes him look like he has a chiseled jaw.
Turned into a Chad.
But like legit glow up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is that plugs? He goes, nah, it's a wig.
Oh,
Oh,
And I
I
was like, get fucked.
well, like a toupee or?
Like a legit wig.
Oh right.
And I was like,
is it glued on or is it just sitting?
Yeah.
Okay.
so
Yeah, it's like LeBron's got. Well, he's just a bit of a toupee.
Come on, bro. Potty just started. Just started.
So this thing looked legit.
Yeah.
Like I was like, that I wouldn't have known that's not his hair.
Right.
So
Do
he
you
goes,
reckon-
you just have to go in like every 2 weeks and get the rest cut in to suit it. You can have your barber like unstick it, restick it, adjust it and stuff.
Yeah.
How much you reckon?
$500.
Nah, keep going.
Bruh.
Keep going.
I don't know. It's
Okay,
items.
I thought I was super excited it was cheap.
I haven't seen it.
And it's an extra zero on that. But it's
$5,000.
$5,000.
yeah.
Is it someone's actual hair? So they've died and they just took it off their head?
I would
They
assume
died.
No, you know, like they donated their
They probably-
hair to science.
They probably cut it and donated it. Yes.
Is that less or more weird if it's from a dead person?
Oh, well, would you take a dead person's heart if you needed it?
Heart transplant.
Life or life.
A toupee.
Both of those are life or death for me.
That's
All right.
fair, that's fair, that's fair.
Well, not really.
Okay.
So yeah,
would
I
you
was,
wear one?
I was
$5,000.
very impressed. $5,000, and he goes like it's permanent. Like once it's on, like you can be pulled by.
I've
the
seen
hair.
it. I've seen a guy that I know, and I reckon he has that
Yeah,
because like he was
I'm
a
gonna
bowling
put it-
ball.
I'm
and
gonna
then
put it
5
out there that if it's from the local area, it's the same guy
Yeah, because I've seen him now. Like
because
5 years
Adrian's
later.
from here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It looks pretty.
He used to come to the gym.
Right.
You would know him if you saw his face.
Yeah.
I know his name, but shout out to that guy.
Yeah.
Good on him.
Right.
He looks hot as fuck. Good on him. But I was like, what's the Turkey and back? Even if the transplant's cheap, flight to com,
Yeah.
pain.
The
and
the
then
dicey
we've
roll,
talked about like if it thins behind where you got it done.
Yeah, and the dicey roll with the turkey thing is like you only know once you get there.
Mm.
Because they check your hair follicles to see how many
Yeah.
hairs you have in each follicle. So if you don't have like 3 or 2 and you only have a bunch of single ones, like you're just transferring hair from one side of your head to the other.
Yeah. And then if it thins further,
Yeah, that's it. What if you get it
get
plugged
like a
here
weird
and then like it,
yeah.
Well,
just aging progresses, right?
That's actually what happened. So, like, Chris Bumstead and Ian Valier, like, got it done. They got sponsored to do it all.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And, like, I actually speak to Ian a little bit.
Yeah.
So I was, like, talking to him about it. And he was saying that the front of his hair has, like, come in really, really well.
Yeah,
and he's
the
got
rest
this,
of it's probably
and
thinner.
the back of his hair is, like, still hasn't come in. They reckon that only, like, 40 to 50% of the hair follicles grab from the back. And it's, like, 85 to 90% from the front grab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're like, he said he's got to go back and do like the back half of the head, but you still got to go through the whole process
You
of like.
can take it off my
shaving the
legs.
head. Yeah.
If you take it off my legs, I'll give enough hair for all 3 of us. We'd all have
Sorted.
we'd have nice dark brown
You can
hair.
do my
all
wig.
this- Yeah, 100%.
You don't have to dye. It's amazing. You don't have to dye.
So you're
So
saying
I'm putting it on the table as an option eventually.
So can you So you would have to be 100% locked in on your hairstyle for the rest of your life, though.
Even unless you wanted a new one.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. So you like, it's just
You
like
can only
this
go
is-
shorter.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's like, do you start with like
You know,
a
how good when,
ponytail?
you know when girls cut their hair short and they're always like, oh,
Yeah.
it's the worst. I should have.
Yeah.
I miss my long hair. That'll be you.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Go too
well,
short
it won't be-
once and you'd be like, fuck.
Yeah,
The worst part is that when girls do that, they're like, "Oh, it's okay, it'll grow back."
yeah,
It won't.
Mm.
It won't grow back.
yeah. I don't think I could have it. I don't even know what hair. Like I've always shaved my head, so I don't even know what. Like
Yeah,
you can't
true.
buy a wig and then shave it.
No, my toxic trait is like, my
Just like, can I get a wig on it with about a number 2, please?
Yeah,
With
I'm
a
gonna have
fade?
to.
A
I'm just
high
gonna have to
skin
go
fade?
with like the spots. You know, the guys get the tattoos, the
tattoo
dots.
yeah.
So
You can't. Whoever does the forehead line, it's make or break because some of them are too perfect, and I just can't.
yeah.
I just can't stop staring at it. I'm like, this is too perfect.
So he was talking about that as well. So this guy did the microfiber thing. No, someone else did the microfiber. So like you like shake shit in it.
yeah.
You rub it through.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I get sponsored ads for it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I don't yet.
We're going to now.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And then so he did the plugs, and they would only do the front because he's like, the back's going to keep going. We can't do it yet.
Yeah.
So they tattooed it.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a big call
Yeah.
to never be able to not do it now. Like, what if you just decide you want to shave your head?
Mm.
It's over.
Well, you got half a tattoo. Like, is that what? It
Yeah.
is?
Yeah. Well, you're gonna have to tattoo the whole head now.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get it lasered off.
Oh.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, well, that's what I have done.
Yeah, so that's a really big commitment.
That's
to
a
just be like,
conundrum.
I'm going to tattoo my bald spot.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
My,
I think I'll be okay. If
I'm
my
also
hair falls
curious
out.
about this microfiber stuff. Just to
Yeah.
feel this little...
well, I was thinking about it
Then I can
because
sit under this fucking light.
the front of my hair is not so bad. My bad spot's like the back of the head, like the
Right.
bald spot.
Yeah.
So it got so bad that
Must be nice to only have one problem.
one-
Mine's going both directions.
both directions. No, I knew it was starting to get bad when on my pro tour, when I was doing like my different posing routines, I was like, all right, I'm probably not going to do any of those like head down poses because I don't want anyone to see the top of my head. So I was like taking poses out of my posing routine.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Because I have this like really good like
Yeah.
kind of like pose where I'm like half leaning down, like head
Yeah.
to the floor.
Yeah.
And I did it like as I was filming, like practicing my routine.
Yeah, yeah.
And I watched it back and I was like, oh,
Yes.
can't put
That's
that.
You know
on.
that-
That's a
you-
no from me,
You know
dog.
the Ashley and Martin ad that's like, well, when did you first... When
Yeah,
was the
yeah.
first time you really noticed?
Realization.
I
yeah.
recorded a deadlift from the front,
Oh yeah, that'll get
and the
you.
light just hit the back. I was like,
Mine was I was in a Smith machine and like laid back so the camera was behind me, and like you could literally just see the top of my head, and I like, fuck.
how long's that been there? Fuck.
No one's told me about
Yeah.
this. Like,
Yeah,
why
it's
hasn't-
a touchy subject. Can't
Yeah.
sit there and be like, "What's that?"
and then because I was
Hey,
talking,
bro, I just wouldn't record from there. Hey.
and then it's always bad when you show someone, right? Because they were saying I had my client yesterday who does the hair treatment stuff. And I thought it was only for women, and I kind of was like picking her brain about it, and I was like, "What's the go with this, whatever serum that you use, blah blah blah?" And she's like, "Your hair's not that bad, like, is it?" And I was like, "I always wear a hat, that's why."
Yeah.
She's like, "Show me." And when you show someone, and they've got to try and play it off like it's not that bad,
But it's bad.
but you know it's bad.
Yeah.
So she like looks at it, she's like, "You're pretty tall, so like people can't see it, like, people can't see it that much." And I was like, "Whatever."
Have you done the test run? Ever shaved your head before?
Nah, I can't do it because I'm so scared that it won't come back.
Yeah.
Even when you were younger, have you ever shaved your head?
Oh yeah, well we were poor as.
yeah,
anything
hey,
like-
I understand.
yeah.
Hey, no, welcome.
Same.
we discussed
You
it.
are safe here.
Yeah.
So, like-
we got our own home haircuts
So
as well.
our two haircuts were a bowl cut or a number one all over.
Yeah,
There was nothing else in
yeah,
between.
number one has no skill.
So yeah, I had a number one shaved head until
Yeah.
I was like 14, 13 years old.
Yeah, head's probably a little bit different shape now, but
A little bit. And then a little bit growth on my head.
it's just got a bit here and a bit more chiseled on the chin there.
Bit more. So yeah.
Yeah,
That's where it was
fair.
at. And then I rebelled and didn't cut my hair for like 5 years like everyone else does.
Yeah. That was my cheap haircut. I just didn't.
Yeah.
Just let it afro for 2 years and then deal with it.
Yeah, fair.
So where are we? Wigs? Yay or nay?
I need to see it.
No,
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
not for me.
No.
Not for me.
What's the holdback? Just knowing
because
you
I don't
have
want to
one?
shave. Because I don't know what hairstyle I would have.
Yeah, it's very.
I'd get
I'd rather have no hair.
I'd make a split decision and get like a Johnny Bravo wig.
Yeah.
Like 2 days later,
I
I'm
reckon
like,
you could rock that though.
Johnny Bravo.
Yeah, I reckon you could. Yeah,
I'm about
100%.
that. You
yeah.
should do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a tiny, like your beard would just be like, maybe half an inch.
Yeah.
Not enough for
Not
it to
a
hang.
full, yeah.
And then you got the hair. Yeah, 100%.
I think the biggest thing about getting a wig would be like it's noticeable like immediately. Like
Yeah. You just like rock
Saw
up.
them next week.
Imagine if you just like rock up to the next like shindig with your mates and shit. You're just like, what's going on, guys? Like,
Just
how
pretend like nothing's changed.
How's the kids going? Yeah.
You've got dreadlocks or something, like something completely random.
Going from like this huge receding hair like a ponytail.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not.
Trying to find one.
So it's a no. It's a no.
It's a no for me.
Yeah.
I can think of I care about my hair. I don't care about it enough to spend $5,000 on a wig.
Yeah. I would spend $5,000 on my hair,
Yeah.
but just not on a
Someone
wig
else's
for
hair.
my-
But you would do
Someone else's hair for your
Someone
hair.
who kindly donated their hair for science after they died.
It's like,
So that's a week.
Oh, it's pretty good.
all right, let me
It's
see.
pretty good. Yeah.
That's what I did.
Like $5,000 up front.
We're
or
not
are we going on,
talking
like, a
about-
payment
Can we put a payment plan?
This isn't like
Is it interest
fucking-
free? Yeah.
This isn't a Donald Trump
Yeah, okay.
fucking
Okay.
floof.
Yeah.
Because
This
I'm
is
thinking like
legit.
like Wolf of Wall Street, like
Yeah, I agree.
rug.
Yeah.
You know, rug.
yeah,
Yeah,
no. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
So is that glued on?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
wonder
then
if
you
it-
just get the fade cut in
Okay.
and you're good.
Oh, so the only funny part of that would be that like when the when the sides of your hair grow like outwards to the hair that's on your head.
Imagine it's like you
I
go
know the
away
bit.
or something and you
Imagine-
can't get the sides
Imagine-
trimmed.
oh, dude, you would no. It would have to be like you'd have to teach yourself or your wife or whatever
To fade
It'd have to be
yourself.
locked in. Oh, you
Yeah.
have to be locked in.
Absolute worst case scenario, just shave
Yeah.
everything off except for the wig.
Yeah, there's just no fade. It's skin and then hair. This luscious hair.
We should just take it off.
You're convincing me with that. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Bros.
Yeah, you're convincing me.
That's
That
how
was-
good the other guys
Yeah,
looked.
my perception of it was not that.
Not that. Yeah. It's very, very
I'm
impressive.
still not going to do it, but because I don't know what. Maybe when I decide on a hairstyle, I'll do it.
Yeah,
But
I feel like it would. I've had so many hairstyles, I think I could get away with it.
yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think people won't know?
No, like, they forget pretty quick.
Oh yeah, people forget all the time. Sometimes you just got to be like, look, rip the band-aid off, bro, and shave
Yeah.
your head.
Yeah.
And
I
then
wanna
like
do-
a week later, you're like, oh, that's just.
I
want to
do the Instagram story spoken and then do another one the next day with hair and just not address it.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
It's like, when
Yeah.
did that
Who's
And
who's gonna have the courage to speak
say
up?
something,
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
play dumb about it.
Fucking
what are
say
you,
something.
What are you talking?
No?
No.
Yeah, just be that guy that just 100% denies it.
Nah, I've just got this special cream, man.
Yeah.
And then start selling the cream.
It's an amino acid. All right.
Now we're on.
Should we talk about,
about training.
Should we talk about bodybuilding now?
Yeah, male men's health is done.
For everyone listening who's not going bald. So Matt, this whole conversation is going to be about you. So I hope you're ready to just talk about yourself and your life, because we want to know all the intricate details as well.
I'm supremely uncomfortable about it. Although I was like on the way here and I didn't know anything. You haven't precursored anything that we're going to talk
No,
about.
we never
right?
do.
Yeah.
We'd like to surprise you.
Because if we said we're talking about male wigs on the way, you probably wouldn't have come. So
No, I would have invested in some male wigs. I would have worn one and taken my hat off at like this opportune time and been like, surprise, $5,000, someone else's dead hair.
Yeah, use code Matt.
Code Orch for my wig. And I was like, it's nice to not have to think about anything at all. Like
Yeah.
I was telling you, like whenever someone asks me to train,
Yeah.
like I have to come up with the workout.
Yeah.
Whenever someone asks me to do a podcast, because we obviously have our own potty and stuff as well, it's like I'm running it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like we're on the way here and I'm like, I don't know what we're talking about. I don't know anything. All I know is that the boys have got it handled and I just have to sit in a chair, drink water and answer their questions. And I'm very excited about
Yeah,
it.
that's
Yeah.
good.
we're
That's-
both also like, it could be ADHD, it could be autism, we don't know. But we're both doing our program today, so you can just follow us.
Oh, amazing.
It's fine.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Move from routine breaks.
So maybe for the listeners, bro, start off with like maybe just like your background in, I guess, like training, we'll call it athletics, because I know like before bodybuilding you were in like high performance sport, and then you kind of made that shift into training. So maybe like just where that all started, and maybe what the shift was to like go into the gym and start pursuing training and stuff.
Well, it's crazy. I was actually talking like just about this yesterday because I get asked a lot. It's like, how long have you been bodybuilding for?
Yeah.
When you've been doing what we've do for a long time, everyone always wants to know like, how long does it take me to get to where you are, right?
Yeah.
So they can set the bar.
Yeah.
And I always go, like from a bodybuilding standpoint, I've been bodybuilding for 8 years.
Yeah.
Probably not even that long, 7 years really.
Yeah.
But I've been an athlete my whole life.
Yeah.
Like, I was that weird kid in like grade 4 and 5 that was doing like 100 push-ups and 100 sit-ups in his bedroom before like mum took us to school type of thing. Like I was that weird kid. And then like I played football, played cricket. Like I played every sport under the sun. Like my mum, single mum of 4. Like I don't know how she managed to get all of us to all that.
Props to mum.
Yeah.
It's a great effort.
Although in saying that, like none of my sisters played sport. Like it was a very ongoing joke in my family that I got all of the athletic ability, like of everyone.
Yeah, maybe they're just like, that one. He gets the privileges.
He might be good at something.
Yeah.
This might be a good return on
This
investment.
is
here's
the
the
ticket
ticket.
out. Yeah.
So, I probably played like a season of every sport to kind of like see if I was A, good at it, and B, wanted to do it for like long term. So played soccer, played cricket, did karate, did tennis, did everything.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I did everything. And I was like, I joke about it all the time that I would only do a sport long enough to know that if I wanted to be good at it, I could be, and then I'm done.
Yeah.
So I did karate and like worked my way up to like the first black belt or whatever. And they were like, oh, you can take this a long way. Like you've got a lot of potential. And I'm like, stop there. I just want to know that I can do it if I wanted. I'm going to go do something else.
Yeah, I'm out.
And
Completed it, mate.
Yeah.
Clocked it.
Clocked it. On to the next one. And then I kind of found like my biggest home was with Australian rules football. Like I played AFL for, 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
And then picked up a basketball and tried to do both for a long time. So I was like probably better at football than I was at basketball, but I enjoyed basketball a lot more. So yeah, it was sort of got to a point, I was starting to get pretty decent about under 18s. Like I was playing seniors, I was playing Gippsland Power, like played in the TSC Cup, like Vic Country, stuff like that. But I hated playing football. Like I would wake up on a Saturday morning and I'd just be like, fuck, like I don't want to go do this.
Yeah.
And it got to that point and I was like, okay, this is not something that's long term. And then played basketball for a few years, worked my way up there. I'm a very all or nothing person. Like you guys probably know that about me by now. It's like if I'm doing something, I'm 100% in it.
Yeah.
So, picked up a basketball, got better, enjoyed it so much more. And I think basketball, and this is interesting because it's kind of like transpired. So football is very hard to practice on your own.
Yeah.
Right? It's one of those sports that like
Of course.
you have to.
Can't kick a footy to yourself.
Exactly
Well, you can,
right.
but it's just up in the air.
There's only so much you can do.
That's it, yeah.
And then I picked up a basketball and still a team sport, but it's something that you can practice on your own. Like you can get shots up by yourself, you can dribble, you can, and then played that competitively, went overseas, played in the US for 3 years on a scholarship, and realized pretty quickly when I was over there that I wasn't going to be able to make a living from playing basketball.
Okay.
So it was like I was good, and then I went over there and played at a pretty decent school. I was on a full scholarship, so like got a free education out of it. But I was a 5'10" white Australian kid, and I was like, I remember like the second game we had some guy that we're playing against, and he like came down, got a steal, and like dunked it from like the free throw line. Oof. And I'm like, I literally was sitting on the bench, and I was like, I better find something else to do. I'm good, but I'm not going to the NBA, right?
Yeah.
And then we had a pretty like rigorous.
Is that pool greater than
It's crazy, man.
you think? Like at that level, like there's more of them, right?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like the level of athlete. It's funny because I used to be a pretty athletic person, and like I went over there and like a drop in the ocean.
Yeah,
Like
wow.
it's crazy. Like you'd just be at a local park like on a Saturday, and you got guys that are like 5'9", like windmilling through the legs, like just can't do 2 + 2, but they're like athletes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would be so interesting to coming from, because I think Australia by nature just holds AFL to such a high standard.
Yeah.
And then you kind of look into it and you're like, I feel like you could make I feel like you could make a squad out of any NFL lineup where they got a squad of 40.
Yeah.
You gotta give them 18 months and they'll probably win.
and teach them how to play.
Yeah.
Like, or say take a college team and then give them, you just play football, they'd win a flag
Oh yeah.
I think so.
before
Yeah.
their time was done.
Yeah.
Give them a good coach. So you'd need an Aussie coach.
Yeah.
So you just take the cattle,
Yeah.
train them up.
Take the raw athletic talent
Yeah.
and then mold them to
And
the way
then
that you
mold
want
them,
them.
yeah.
So
But which they would all just look at and go, 800 grand a year.
yeah. It's funny. The biggest difference that a lot of Americans have with AFL that they can't get their head around, and you don't really realize until someone points it out. That, AFL is one of the only sports in the world that you're
multi-directional.
360 degrees of contact
Yeah.
So you can get taken out from any angle.
right? Legally as well.
Yeah, because the rugby is straight on, NFL is straight
straight
on.
on.
Yeah.
Even like basketball to an extent, it's
Yeah.
like you're very, very rarely having contact from behind. It's always like you go that direction.
Yeah, because you're
turn
going
around
towards
and
your
then go the
goals,
other
and then
direction.
of course.
And it's like there's very few sports in the world, so like to think that you're like you literally have to have your head
The
on
awareness,
a swivel
yeah.
at all times. Like that's probably the biggest separation and difference from AFL to other sports.
So how big was the gap TAC Cup to college ball?
Like from a time difference?
No, just like quality, athletic quality.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And then like playing professionally basketball here, it's so cognitive.
Yeah.
And like I'll call a spade a spade. Like I said, I'm 5'10", white. Like I have reasonable athletic ability, but compared to some of the guys over there, like nothing. But my ability to think my way around instances over there, like playing, like I used to outsmart people and counter move to counter move because they would just be like, shit, I can run fast and jump high.
Yeah.
And outside of that, like I don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
And it was interesting, like the way that it probably came in at a perfect time over there because like the collegiate game was kind of transitioning away from who can jump the highest and shoot the best, and it was more of like a cognitive game and thinking your way through like possessions and plays and like the whole demographic to it. But anyway, so when I was over there, I was there for 3 years, and obviously when you're in the collegiate sports system, they've got a pretty rigorous like strength and conditioning program, and you had like conditioning coaches and strength coaches and nutritionists and dietitians, and that's where my love for weight training sort of began.
Right.
That it wasn't until sort of like my second or third year at college that I was more looking forward to the weight sessions than I was to practice.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, like I'm starting to put the pieces together a bit now.
Right.
And then played one more year there, came home, still played professionally back home, like once I came home from the US, and then tried to do both.
So tried to weightlift.
Tried to bodybuild bodybuild and play basketball.
Yeah.
And then I think I tried to do my first competition in 2017.
What category?
What? Men's physique. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, of course not. I was just curious.
Just curious.
For the people at home.
Well, I mean, like,
Yeah, you start somewhere.
people sort of look at me and they're like, "Oh, you must have always been like a pretty big person," and I'm like, "No, when I was 26 years old, I was 75 kilos because, yeah,
It's 50 kilos difference.
yeah,
Really?
like literally nearly 50 kilos difference."
Yeah.
I'd like to say there's hope for us yet, but there is.
There's not.
But like from a genetic predisposition standpoint, like I definitely have more like slow twitch muscle fibers. I'm definitely more of an endurance athlete. I was always like a long distance runner. I could run fast and jump high, like that was fair enough. But like my ectomorph body type was very apparent for a long period of time. So that hard gainer mentality.
Yeah.
I have to eat so much food to put size on it. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. So when was the shift where you were like, I'm gonna pursue bodybuilding only?
Yeah.
And then when did the time come where you were like, I think I can be really good at this too? And actually, like, did you actually purposely try and pursue your pro card, or you just like it just
No,
happened?
Never. So like I said, I did my we can talk about PEDs on here.
Of course you can.
Okay, cool. So
Just like not amounts and not
yeah.
size.
Okay, good.
Or what?
Yeah. Just
So for my first cycle,
no specifics.
yeah. So my first show I did was natural, so I competed
Yeah.
naturally, and I like under no circumstances, usually like 99 times out of 100, I think everyone should compete naturally before they go down the dance route.
Yeah,
I
agreed.
think we can touch on that later, but so I competed naturally in men's physique, ICN, like first ever show, first ever season.
Yep.
Won like 4 state titles and like 2 national titles in like my first season in men's physique, and I was like,
Not bad.
I could probably work with this. ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then the next year, I decided to try and compete enhanced.
Yeah.
So I went to the IFBB, still in men's physique.
Only a year later.
Yep.
Wow. So you would have had half a year to add size.
Yep. And the half a year that I tried to add size, I was playing basketball 5 times a week.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
It was not great. It was not great at all.
Bet you were pretty good on the court though. Or slower.
This follows on to the next question. And I was working on the tools at the time as well. So I was a tradie.
Yeah.
So like my output was crazy. Like I'm talking like I was needing to consume like 7,000 calories a day for me to put on weight. Because like I said, I was definitely an ectomorph, definitely a hard gainer, doing crazy output.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Excuse me. And then, so it was my second enhanced comp that I started to put on a bit of size, that like my skill level was starting to deteriorate, like my athleticism was starting to go, right?
It's come to the cost, bro.
Getting up and down the court was pretty rough. And then it was like, once I started to mentally having to plan like my training split around like, don't train legs the day before I was playing a basketball game, right? Because it was influencing. And that's when I was kind of like, all right, I've got to make a decision here. And it was very much apparent to me that I had to choose one or the other because they weren't conducive. There's like, you can't do both. Like, how are you going to be a professional basketball player and a professional bodybuilder at the same time? Like, they literally pulling each other in opposite directions.
ACL injury waiting to happen.
Yeah. So, yeah, I kind of like, it was probably like my 10th year of like professional or collegiate basketball. And I was like, all right, I've ticked this box now. Like, I think that I'm like, I can walk away from it knowing full well that I couldn't have done any more. And then I can, like I said, I'm a very all or nothing person. And I was like, I wanted to put 100% into bodybuilding. So by this point in time, I'd cleaned up a few national titles. Naturally, I'd won like all the first timers, novice type of stuff. And I'd just done my first classic physique show.
That would have been just when classic started to come in as a category.
Probably like the second or third.
Yeah, because it wouldn't have been long before that. Yeah.
So I think my first year competing was the year that Chris Bumstead won his first title.
Yeah, nice.
Wow.
So my first year doing classic was like when Chris Bumstead just won or either just came second.
Yeah.
So that's how I guess you kind of think about it.
Yeah.
And then once I realized
that was 8 years ago. It would have been when he come second.
The second year,
because he had two seconds, and then he
won 6 in a row.
6 in a row. Yeah.
So yeah, it was the end of 2017, I think.
Yep.
Was my first enhanced, and then the end of 2018 was my first classic show.
Okay.
And then I saw, like I said, you see Chris Bumstead, you see, it got to that point where I was like, okay, I think this is what I want to do with my life.
Yep.
Like, I think I've got the genetics. I think I've got the potential. I think I've got the ability to have a crack at this. I can't do both.
Yep.
So hung up the basketball shoes and
yeah.
Yeah.
So there was like, I kind of, you always popped in and out because, you were training and, you were working with people in the space. So there seemed to be a period where you made a lot of progress, like in a short period of time. Do you attest that to just like going all in? Like, was that was probably that time where you were dipping your toes in and then you actually just committed to this lifestyle? Yeah. Would you attribute it to that? Like, did you change your training style? Did you like...
No, it all came from the ability to recover. Like, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. So that period of time that I think you're referring to, I probably, I stopped working on the tools.
Yeah.
So when it started going into the coaching realm, like every other coach that starts off, I think
it would have been about 2017, 2018 maybe.
Yeah. Started working in a supplement store as well. So like, how like everyone works in a sup store and coaches on the side, right? When they start. So did that. I probably upskilled a lot more. Yeah. So learnt a lot more about what I was doing, what I was taking, how I was training, how I was recovering. Yeah. And then, I kind of just built off that. Yeah. And then, it was definitely probably because I just made that mental decision to be like, this is not a hobby anymore. This is something that I can make a career out of. Yeah. Definitely.
Do you kind of attribute or do you work to a certain type of like kind of training method and style now? Like, have you used like a magnitude of types of training? Because like when you talk to bodybuilders, they're like, some of them are like, I'm just high volume, don't progress. I don't really track my training performance and I just work off like how the muscle feels and, and they make progress that way. And then you got the camp on the other side that's like, this needs to be in this sequence. We need to make sure we have progression and we need to make sure that we lift with like really good form and stuff like that. And then you've got maybe a spectrum of like whether that you prefer it or you don't prefer high volume training.
Yeah.
Have you tried all of it? Is there something that really sticks out to you that you've kind of carried across your time? Is there anything that you can attribute to, like, I guess, like adding to, the results and whatnot?
I've tried every training style. I mean, when you've been around as long as like the three of us have been around, like we've done German volume training blocks, we've done push-pull legs, we've done a bro split, we've done your strength 5x5. Like we've done everything, right?
Yep.
I think the biggest takeaway that I can sort of take from my entire time of training, and the best piece of advice that I give anyone that asks me about what's the best training split, it's this training split that you enjoy, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like the style of training that you enjoy the most is what you're going to benefit from the most.
Yeah.
And I tell everyone is like, when we work with a client, they're like, what split we're going to run? Like, what's the best split? And you're like, I can give you the best training program that's ever been written that I guarantee is going to get results. But if you don't follow it and you don't enjoy it, it's null and void, right?
Yeah.
So often with a lot of my clients and whenever I'm structuring something for myself, it's like, okay, what am I really enjoying right now?
Yeah.
Am I really, I'm at a point in my off season right now where I'm the heaviest that I've probably ever been. And I'm probably the strongest that I've ever been. So I'm probably not going to do 3 sets of 12 right now. I want to move some like big ass heavyweight.
Yeah, and have some fun.
Right? So right now it's like I'm prioritizing. I'm a really big top set, back offset guy. I definitely err on the side of lower volume within reason, obviously. And that's like depending on different muscle groups, obviously. There's intricacies and variables and what have you. But I definitely am a lower volume, probably like a top set back off for compounds, and then we'll add my intensifiers towards an end of a session.
Yeah.
So that's probably like the main crux of the style of training that I've sort of stuck to over the period of time.
Yeah.
I got a lot of, when I first sort of was getting more known online, like I had some like DUP programming, some like daily undulating periodization programming and stuff.
I would love to talk about that.
Yeah. There's a bit more of a science methodology to that as well. Yeah,
well, the idea is that you are undulating the rep schemes and the loading so that you can, they say that you can recover better and get the frequency up on the muscle group per week, which would translate to, better results overall, right?
Correct.
Were you doing like whole body sessions where like the rep ranges were undulating? So it was like heavy chest, like moderate legs, and then high tricep, and then it would be heavy leg, high chest,
Correct.
Moderate tricep or whatever.
Yeah. So you'd have let's say 5 training sessions, and then for each training session you'd have a low, moderate, high volume
in the session. Yeah,
in the session.
Yeah.
So then you'd kind of like periodize daily. So if I was going to do a super heavy back day on a Tuesday, on a Wednesday I'd do like a high volume chest day. So I'm not destroying my central nervous system by trying to RDL 280 on a Tuesday and then incline dumbbell press, for 5 reps on the following day. So you're kind of like,
because there's multiple ways to apply it, I think, because you can do it in intra-session. So you can DUP the session itself. So you start heavy, moderate, light, then you would have a day off, and then you start something else heavy, like a different muscle group, and then heavy and light, and you would have like 2 splits that rotate. And then you can also do, like you were doing, is like a heavy day, a midday, and a light day, and you would just...
That's the day that I preferred.
Yeah.
Like that's the way that I preferred to like undulate. Was, not within a session.
Yeah.
Because I always found it like pretty difficult to wrap your head around that in a session. It's like, I've got a lot of clients at the moment that are doing like anterior posterior days.
Yep.
And I'm sure you guys program something similar.
Yep.
Like for me though, like walking into a gym with the mindset of I'm going to do a real heavy chest press and then some flies and then some delts and then I'm going to do a leg extension and a hack squat.
Yeah.
Because it's like an anterior day, right?
I found that.
I just couldn't get my
head
around
And then even
it.
just warming up for it, I was like, fuck man, I got to prepare like my whole body for this session, and I need to make sure every fucking joint and hub is like ready to go. I found it really tough to. The session took forever.
And I found the same with undulating within a training session. So if I'm like doing some really heavy programming for this movement, but then for like 2 movements later, it's like super high volume with blah blah blah. Then I was like,
Was it hard to show up for that?
Sorry, it works really well in the strength realm.
I could imagine it would.
Because you need the frequency of the exposure to the pattern more than the muscle group. So it's like if you do an anterior day, I can squat and bench.
Yeah.
Posterior, I can like do my back work.
There's just less movements.
No, I get it.
And the session's a little bit shorter, but like from a bodybuilding standpoint, like you said, to like I'm gonna go do 4 sets of 8 on a hack. and then I'm gonna go do whatever push like in a with that amount of volume would be.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's a different mentality to.
Yeah.
I've thought about doing like upper lower. So do upper lower day off, upper lower day off, and then those two upper lowers are like one's heavy and one's one's heavy and moderate. I don't really like light reps.
Yeah. Well,
I just think
like,
the cost of a strong person.
What's light, I guess.
Yeah, it's all relative.
Oh, sorry, high rep, because the cost of the high reps to get to a position where they are stimulating, it's like
Still fatigue.
Yeah, well, that's just taking energy out of. So why wouldn't you just?
Yeah.
So what's moderate to you, like 8 to 12?
Well, I would do like maybe like a 3 to 6 for the heavy day, and then do like 6 to 10 or 8 to 12 for the other day, and then one day is like more.
So my powerlifting brain is like 8 to 12 is a light day. It's like,
Nah, because you see like high rep is like 12 to 30, for most bodybuilders. So it's, I've been thinking about doing that, like, but also, like you said before, it's like there's so many different ways to do it. If you like your training style, just like
stick with it.
Commit to it, and committing to it is going to get you the better results anyway.
When was the last time you ever did a set of 30 reps on anything?
Never.
I'll
do a set of 20 for a warm up.
Okay.
Yeah.
For only like as a warm up set, not an active.
Some
set.
people do though. I see it on YouTube all the time.
Yeah.
Like
Unless I
because
really
it's so
fuck
strong.
up
They go like they take the load off the joints.
early in a program. If I really fuck up the weight selection,
Yeah.
I'm like, I want this set to count, so I'm going to failure.
Yeah.
So it could be like 20, 25. But
If you can leg press like 800 kilos,
Yeah.
like you might want
bro.
to want to do 30 reps instead, maybe.
Yeah.
I think remember like it was I don't know how many reps Will was doing at the time, but remember when he was like 110 kilos and like 10% body fat?
Yeah.
It's like, bro, like and he was the strongest under 110 kilo powerlifter in the country. It's like your program's not going to be
the same as everyone else.
You're going to think
if he does a bodybuilding program,
you got to think a little bit outside the box for someone like that. For some things, anyway, maybe like the legs and your hinging and stuff, you might need to think a little bit different. I don't know, but yeah, I was always curious about it because like DEP is effective, but I don't think it's like people talk about it as if it's like the magic elixir of.
People used to ask me about it like I had some secret formula that nobody else knew about. I was
and it's like people still making gains. Like it's great, it's a system, but I think the magic is the fact that you follow it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a great point because it is quite intricate. So you're so kind of locked into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're just more compliant
it's
because you know it's
adherence through complex.
There you go.
Yeah. Because we talk about it all the time. Remember the biosignature?
Yeah.
Like biosig was just like voodoo.
Yeah.
But people got results on it because you had to be so meticulous with the supplements, and they cost you so much money that you fucking had to do the diet and you had to do the training and the cardio. So sometimes it's about like just and like the thing with DEP is like it still sits within the realm of like this is going to make me bigger and stronger.
Of course,
it's not totally unrelated.
And then
to...
it's still progressive overload.
Yeah,
but the whole premise, I think the whole premise around it originally, which is what attracted a lot of people, because they were like, hey, if you follow this DUP, you effectively don't ever need to do a deload because you're deloading like every 2 days.
Yeah.
Essentially, right?
Yeah.
And that's why people kind of gravitated towards it. They're like, oh, I can follow this program forever and I never need to deload.
Well, that's a good thing to do because the more weeks in the gym you are, the better the results.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's funny now because we just like, you don't need to deload at all if your program's good.
Well, I agree. That's all I subscribe to.
I firmly agree that deloads are...
Yeah, I think it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you're 100%. Like, every 5 weeks or 6 weeks we're going to deload. It's like, that's like 8 weeks out of the gym in a year.
Yeah.
But that just like confirmation bias. Like people that get told you don't have to deload because of this special, because you're not training hard.
Yeah.
Like it's not like the moderate day means I stop 4 reps short of failure.
Yeah.
You're still training hard. It's just at higher rep ranges.
Yeah. My favorite is always when clients will come to you and like, I feel like I need a deload. You're like, all right, we'll do a deload. You take the feedback and you're like, cool. Yeah. And 2 days later, they're like, right, we're ready to go again.
Yeah.
It's like, you didn't need a deload there. You didn't need a deload
mental break.
Yeah. Just tell me you want a day off from the gym. Like,
it's amazing how psychological that is, though. Just to be like, this special program, you don't need a deload from it.
Yeah. You'll be able to stay on this as long as you want.
Yeah.
Because we did it too. Like we used to do a 6-week cycle and then a testing week. And the testing week, the testing week was like new program, send it for a set and find failure, and then that would predict. We actually had this super sexy calculator that would predict your loads for the rest of the block.
That's cool.
It was
still got it.
Yeah, but it wouldn't. We can't get it in our
Just
app.
download it off T Nation. Is that what you did? Do you remember T Nation?
No, I made this.
You made this?
Spent a really long
I
time.
made this.
Really?
Ben broke my soul when I showed him, and he's like, "Can it do that?" And I was like, "No." And then,
It was the first really bad. Be cool if it did this, Jace.
It predicts your 1RM based on your top strength, your top end strength for that particular lift, whatever rep range, so 5s, 10s, whatever. And then based on the rep and reserve that you select for week 1, it'll take a percentage off the weight to start the week at.
So what you're telling me is you invented Recomposer. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, that's basically what it is. But I didn't know that Recomposer was like that. I just made it.
We'll take him to court.
And then
have you got a date when you invented it?
Nah, but
we might have been after.
but I never bought anything from Recomp, so fuck.
Yeah, perfect.
Then you could even put in your actual rep and reserve for your heaviest set. It would predict, notice what your heaviest set was, and then set your weight.
Yeah, so you predicted. It had a predicted RAR, and then we had an actual RAR. And when you put the actual in, it would use the formula of like which one was higher, and then or lower, and then it would change the load based on that.
Yeah. But like that was
science, bitch.
Yeah, that was our deload. But people would go in and kill themselves trying to
reach those
find
numbers.
the number.
Yeah, that's like not to harp on Recomposer, but that's like my biggest gripe with Recomposer, and progressive overload on the whole. Personally, is that you can't progressively overload every session.
Yeah, and that's
physically can't.
The people that push progressive overload like that, so religiously, neglect the fact that even if you don't progressively overload for that session, you still get a positive benefit from a training stimulus. Like it's not like if I don't go into the gym and like lift more than I did last week, like I'm not going to get any anabolic signaling and any cognitive benefit adaptation to it. They think that it's like all or nothing. It's like, no. You still get a signaling of benefit. It's just not as great as the first exposure. Like It just gradually kind of tapers down, and it takes forever for it to be null and void.
Imagine telling anyone that in any other sport.
Yeah.
Like, every time you go out and run 10Ks, if you don't run faster, it didn't make you better. Okay.
Yeah.
So just infinitely run faster.
Yeah, that's it. Because the ceiling is just uncapped, right?
And our new 100-meter record is 1 second.
Well, it's like, this is my genius idea. I'm going to call Elon Musk and talk to him about this. It's a, in Mario Kart, when you do your time trial and you get a ghost?
Yeah.
You need to create technology for that for runners.
Yeah.
So you can run against your own ghost?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I think that's genius.
Yeah, that'll definitely happen.
Yeah.
That's got to be, right?
Yeah, the glasses are coming on, so that'd be easy enough to do.
Yeah, glasses, and then they'll just be lenses.
Yeah. Like just contact lenses?
Yeah, they'll just be lenses, because then you won't even need anything sitting on your face.
Yeah.
Fuck you up when you're running.
Then it'll just be a chip in your brain.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
All right, let's not turn this into a Joe Rogan podcast, all right?
This is actually a tinfoil hat. I don't know if you know that.
Can't
It's a
keep
tinfoil
tapping.
Just the knot on the top.
Yeah.
So, when was there like a certain point where you were just like, I'm gonna pursue the pro card, or did it happen? Did it just happen?
There was one moment. So I 2 shows before I turned pro.
Yep.
It was like, I think I'd won my class and then lost the overall, and it was like very unexpected. And I was like, oh shit, okay. Because I'm very much of the thought process of I'm not competing against anyone else. As cliche as it is, you need to beat your last package type of scenario.
Absolutely.
So it was like, for me, progression is always the goal, regardless of what I'm doing in my life. This is not even bodybuilding related. It's like, if I can get up and be better the next day, I'm trying to progressive overload my life, right? That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, I love that.
So it was like, I just get better. And then it wasn't until I either was in the overall and lost it, or I just missed out on winning my class or something like that. And I was like, oh shit, I'm not bad at this.
So you were close. You were like, I can do this. Yeah.
And then the next show I did, everyone was like, you've won the pro card.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was like just after lockdown.
It was right after it.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it was like, I was a shoo-in. Everyone was basically already giving me the card, telling me where you're going to do your first pro show, and I haven't even won my pro card type of scenario, and I didn't win. I lost the overall.
Was that hard on you? Did that affect how you thought about that event, or were you still of the mindset I just need to be my best? Or did you actually go in
preparation for that?
Well, if everyone's telling you you're going to win,
do
you go into that now going well, this is the only outcome?
Yeah, I had that thought process anyway.
Yeah.
So for me, it's I'm not trying to compete again for another same position.
Yeah, you want a chip.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, so I always sort of outline it as like your first comp, you want to win your first timers class,
Yeah.
right? And then your second comp, you want to win a novice class. And then your third comp, you want to be first call out in the open class. And then the next comp, you want to win the open class. And there's your natural progression.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like my last comp, I'd either won my class or just narrowly missed my class. So I was like, okay, the next step of progression for me here is to win the pro card or to win an overall. And in my brain, that wasn't like I didn't doubt that in any way, shape or form. I was like, no, I've continually gotten better. There's no reason why I can't continually get better. That's the next step for me. I don't really listen to the outside noise.
Yeah.
But it obviously, like, 100% plays a role.
Was that a tough pill to swallow?
I sat out the back and cried for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Bawled my eyes out.
Yeah.
But
was that more because of like just what that meant to you and what you
had nothing to do with me.
Yeah, okay.
Nothing to do with me. So that year, Nationals was in Melbourne.
Yeah.
50 people bought tickets and came to the show.
Yeah.
Because I was going to win.
Right.
And I didn't win.
Yeah, it's hard.
How am I going to go and see those 50 people now?
Oh,
Yeah.
I know looking back at it.
They'd be proud of you, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, but when you're in the moment.
Nah, I get
right?
it.
When you come off stage not winning the overall, like, how do you go out to everyone and be like, sorry, guys. Like, my bad.
Yeah.
Even knowing full well, like, I did everything I could.
Yeah.
I was going to say, do you feel like you fell short in prep or you nailed it and just wasn't there?
Oh, I was perfect.
Yeah.
Nailed everything.
Yeah.
And you know what makes it worse is when you come off stage and everyone's like, oh, I thought you had him.
Yeah.
Right?
Your best circle.
Right?
Your circle's
Of course.
always. We
Everyone's
talk about this all the
Yeah,
time.
we talk about this all the
Our
time.
clients, like, they're the most shredded and big. How the fuck did they come second?
Not be messaging the boys in the group chat being like, am I inappropriately triggered for this? Like,
there's just a bias that you have to the people that you're looking at.
And everyone was like, you were robbed or whatever. And I'm like, okay.
It's hard.
So that kind of crushed me. And then to the point where the next prep I did, I didn't tell anyone.
Yeah, I love that.
Didn't post a single thing about it.
Yeah.
Didn't work with a coach, prep myself.
Yeah.
Did everything by myself. Nobody knew I was competing. I actually didn't even do the Melbourne qualifier. I did the Perth one.
Nice.
Yeah. So I just rocked up to the Perth weigh-ins, walked into the Perth weigh-ins.
No one will see me out in this other country.
But I vividly remember, like, because people sort of knew who I was, like, they knew that I just missed the pro card or whatever, and, like, I'd obviously improved again.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, it shouldn't even be close, right?
Yeah.
If my natural progression is to be in where it
even
is.
better.
So I remember I walked into, like, the Perth weigh-ins, like, 3 other classic boys were, like, there, like, weighing at the same time. They saw me walk in and they're just like, fuck!
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And then, ended up winning the Perth overall, doing nationals in Brisbane 2 weeks later or a week later. And then, won the pro card unanimously. It wasn't even close.
Yeah. Do you still have to have that mindset, though? Like, it's all good and well to want to win all the time. But do you still have to have that mindset that, like, some dude can just come out of nowhere and just fucking wipe the floor?
And this is the craziest thing about bodybuilding.
Because those guys, you were that to those guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
I've been them.
And unfortunately, there's someone out there.
100%.
Even when you went to America and stuff, you would have just seen that level, and it's like you've got to have that. Like, bodybuilding's tough because it is a game of personal progression. Like you said, you've got to beat the best package or the last package. Sorry. And then you still want to be competitive and obviously, like, chip progression and get into the mix and get placings and stuff like that. But you still have to have a little bit of, I guess, like, realization that someone can just rock up out of the woodwork and you can be best prep, most progress you've ever made, most shredded and conditioned you've ever been, and someone just stands next to you and they're just better.
It used to happen. The worst place it used to happen was when we used to have the Arnold's here.
Yeah.
Because we do the Arnold Amateur and then the Arnold Pro show. And you'd have Australians that were, like, walking night and day the best guy in Australia. Yeah. And then you just have some random dude flying from Q8 and win the pro card. And everyone's like, who the fuck is this guy?
Where did this guy come from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's hard, right? Because from a bodybuilding standpoint, yes, you want to be your best self, like you said. Everyone wants to win.
Yeah.
But who wants to win a show that no one else rocks up to as well?
Yeah.
So it's like, so this is the weirdest thing. It's like, I want to go into a bodybuilding show and I want to compete against all of the best guys in the country as long as I can beat them.
Yeah.
So it's like, I want the best possible lineup that I can have
that I can beat.
that I'm going to win.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's kind of a weird sort of thought process, right?
Yeah. So the motivating, so what I'm trying to ask is, like, the personal pursuit is more motivating than the winning, or the winning is just as important as the personal progression?
Winning is arbitrary to me. And it's very cliche that it's like, if you can be better than the last time you were on stage, you won.
Yeah.
So I would hate to win a show that I didn't feel like I deserved to win.
Yeah, that you weren't at your best.
Right?
Yeah.
But then the caveat to that is I'd be happy to lose a show. Like, I'm trying to think of like my pro tour, like in the US. Like I kind of placed better at every show I did, but my look got better at every show I did.
Yeah.
So that was validating to me.
Absolutely, because you don't want your placing to get better and then the numbers to drop and the quality to drop, right?
It's like, I finished 12th at the New York Pro, which is like one of the craziest lineups ever.
It's one of the biggest shows of the season.
They call it like the third biggest show of the year.
Yeah,
it's like
absolutely.
You have the Olympia, you have the Arnold, and then you have the New York Pro.
Yeah.
Like and for me to finish 12th, I was like, that was the most bittersweet part of my US trip, because it was like there was a lineup of like 30 something guys.
Yeah.
It was my first ever pro show, and I finished 12th, but I feel like I missed the mark.
Yeah.
From my
Well, you knew
personal
you
look,
could be
I
better.
could have been so much better.
Yeah.
And I'm like, everyone's like 12th, like that's crazy, and I'm
Absolutely.
like, it is, but shit.
Yeah.
What made you decide to do New York?
Because
like for the guys at home, like you get your pro card,
yeah,
and then you get to pick
any
pro show you want on the circuit, right?
Yeah.
So you did New York, and then you can talk about the rest of the shows you did.
Mm-hmm.
What made you decide to do that show?
Yeah. Man, I've never wanted to shy away from competition.
Yeah, so you threw yourself in the fucking deep end.
100%.
Third biggest bodybuilding show of the season against every other top end bodybuilder.
For me, it was a little bit of, I'm a little bit older. Like
Yeah.
I didn't start bodybuilding until I was older.
Yeah.
Like I don't have, the way I looked at it, I was like, I don't have 12 to 18 months to see if I can be good at this.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to dabble in like,
It'll take a really long off season.
no
and-
disrespect to like the Kazakhstan pro, but like,
I understand.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you don't want to take a break from getting your pro card to competing like a lot of, like, let's be real, a lot of Aussies do.
A lot of Aussies do
they're
it,
just, it's either they see the gap and go, I'm not there yet, or the pursuit is just not great to dip yourself into the
For
pro
sure.
ranks.
So for me, it was like, you know what? I'm going to give myself the best opportunity to compare myself with the best in the world.
Yeah.
And like I like had a real hard look in the mirror, actually on the plane to New York type of scenario. And I was like,
You went,
yeah. I couldn't fit in the bathroom. It was like this. I was shooting the most muscular like this. And I was like, this is going to be make or break for you.
yeah.
Like you're either going to stand on stage against some of the best athletes in the world and you'll be like, this ain't for me.
Yeah.
Or you're going to stand on stage with some of the best athletes in the world and be like, I don't look out of place
I
here.
belong here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the confidence that gave me, I don't think I would have gotten from doing a smaller, even if I won the smaller show,
Yep.
right? There's the difference from a mental aspect, knowing that I belong in this industry and this sport.
Would you take a smaller show and a win, though, to go to the Olympia?
Oh, hell yeah, I'm doing Kazakhstan next year. That was just the first season. That was the first season.
That's the hardest thing, though,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah.
you're like, if you get that Olympia invitation,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But let's say you still didn't bring your best.
Yeah.
Then you go to the Olympia and you're 56th.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, you're 16th. Of
Everyone's
course.
16th, baby. I'm going to be 16th of my first
16th
Olympia.
bodybuilder in the
Don't worry
world.
about that. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, I get
Yeah.
that. So you went from New York, and what did you do after that?
So I went from New York to Louisiana,
Yep.
and then went from Louisiana to New Mexico,
Yep.
and then from New Mexico to Oklahoma.
Yeah. And you would say Oklahoma was the best package altogether?
I think so.
Yeah. And you got third, right?
I finished third
Yeah.
at Oklahoma, which was
Placing. It's
it
amazing.
was really cool. Yeah. Well, like the placing in a pro show was top 5.
That's what I mean. Yeah. It's huge.
So to
yeah.
be like third,
Absolutely.
and the two guys that I lost to,
Didn't they?
well, they were both have either done the Olympia before
Yeah.
or were already qualified.
Yeah, that's good, man.
And this is like the craziest thing for me is like we watch the Olympia every year from like a fan's perspective, and like admiring the guys that are on stage. And like we watched the Olympia this year, and I was like, I beat that guy.
Yeah, or you're like, I know him.
Yeah.
I stood right
Yeah.
next
I
to him.
stood right next to that
That's
guy.
so cool, man.
Right? You're watching it from a competitor standpoint and
Yeah.
from like they're my peers.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay. And then
wild.
have you ever heard the terminology like bodybuilding math?
Yeah.
So it's like if one guy beats one guy, then
Yeah.
that's how it
it's
works.
like you're
right?
better than
Yeah,
that
yeah,
guy.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you basically could have been sixth of the guy.
So what I'm trying to say is I'm 21st in the Olympia. That's what I'm trying to say.
I love bodybuilding math.
Bodybuilding
It
math.
leads to so many cool conversations.
Because I was like, two guys that I competed against were like,
Yeah.
we're in the second call out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, at the Olympia, the second call out. And then, one guy finished 13th, one guy finished in like the end of the third call out. And I was like, if I finished third and he was second.
Yeah.
But then another guy that I competed against in New York that did the Olympia. Yeah. So
he beat him. So then so then I'm just there between these two.
Yeah. I've got a big Venn diagram at home. Like, it's a big Venn diagram.
That meme with the string and shit.
That's him.
It's me at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like,
it's like, I need to pump up the God complex. Let's go down to the Venn diagram.
Yeah. So yeah, for me, it was like challenge myself, make sure that, I'm on the right path, and, if I keep making progress, then we go from there.
Describe that trip in terms of like living like a bodybuilder. Because for me, I'm like, when I saw you going over there, I'm like, that's a fucking logistical nightmare.
It
like
was a logistical
food,
nightmare.
like everything, like obviously the supplement side, the gyms, like getting the training sessions in. I saw you were working out at some gyms that weren't the best
for a gym in New York.
Weren't the best for a fucking strong ass professional bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Like how was navigating that?
New York was a nightmare. So it was interesting. It was like you'd get one or two of something and then not of the other.
Yeah.
So like New York was easy for food.
Right?
Food you can Whole Foods done. See you later.
Yeah.
But then there was nowhere to train.
Yeah.
Nowhere to train.
Yeah,
like
you literally can't get a casual in New York.
New York City, like nowhere to train?
Yeah.
Like we tried
they
to train.
don't want
Yeah,
they don't want passerbys
at all.
It's wild.
So like New York was a nightmare.
That was when you had to train the hotel gym, yeah?
That was one of the times.
Yeah.
we tried a Planet Fitness.
Yeah.
It was the worst experience of my life.
I'm going to hit the lunk alarm myself.
They let you in?
Yeah.
They let you in, you just can't make any noise.
Couldn't make any noise. Nah, the one that I'll tell one story about Planet Fitness that I couldn't believe it. That a lady walked through my Smith machine. Yeah. Not like through my Smith machine.
No way.
And looked at me like I was in the wrong.
Wow.
Just
for being there.
Yeah, I turned to the boys. I was like, "We got to get out of here." Like,
Yeah,
I'm a week out from the New York
I
Pro.
was gonna say,
I'm a week out. I'm like, "We got to get out of here."
I'm not at my nicest right now.
But then the
What
caveat.
a fucking G that lady.
She didn't give a
shredded tattoos. Fucking just.
I was training as a stringer too because I was like,
yeah, of course,
everybody, right? Yeah.
Fuck.
But then the flip side of that was like Oklahoma was one of the best gyms I've ever been to.
Yeah, the food would have been shit.
But then the food, I couldn't get any food. Like there was proper. Like I was doing all my shopping at Walmart and what have you.
Could got lots of like fried chicken and shit.
Bad, yeah. The food in Louisiana was where the food was the worst.
Yeah, of course.
Everything is just like
you mean
like soul
the
food.
best, but the worst.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's soul food. It'd be the best.
Fried catfish.
Yeah. That's
where
it.
you want to eat after the shows are done.
You could have got lots of yams. It's about it.
Yeah.
Fair.
That was pretty
Yeah. So balancing, giving people an insight into just like how evasive bodybuilding is as a lifestyle.
Okay.
So it's like, is it like just 100% like everything I do and think about is how, like the pursuit of bodybuilding changes all my thoughts and how I operate day to day? Or is there ever a period where you're like, I take a break from this for a little bit to, kind of, because I need to, want to, whatever.
Yeah, interesting because I think by this stage in my life, it's all encompassing.
Yeah.
It kind of has to be.
Yeah.
But it also is on autopilot anyway.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, I mean, you guys would be at this point right now. It's like you can't look at a plate of food without being like carbs, proteins, fats.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
I just look at mine as proteins.
just
proteins, plants.
Salad.
But yeah, I get it.
It starts to become like involuntary.
Yeah.
Is it like you're laying in bed over nighttime, you're like, how many steps did I do today without even like looking at the track? It's very all encompassing. Early on, that was what I wanted it to be.
Yep.
Because it was, bodybuilding is one of the very few sports in the world that what you do 24 hours a day is
influencing
the outcome, right?
Yeah.
I used to laugh all the time. It's like back when I was playing basketball, dudes would be in the gym for 2 hours, like practicing, training, doing the right things, getting their body right. And then they go up to the cafeteria, get like a chicken and cheese quesadilla and some fries, take it back to the room and play 2K for 4 hours. And like, that was their day. And I'm like, okay, it's not directly relating to it. Like, obviously you could do things better from like a overall standpoint.
Yeah.
But they'd still come out the next day and like have 35 and 12 rebounds. Like, no, it was nobody's problem. Whereas you do that from a bodybuilding standpoint, you can't hide away from that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like one of the biggest like questions that I ever got asked, and I will always ask my clients or anyone that comes off stage, is that you know, when someone walks off the stage, you don't ask, like, how do you feel? You don't ask, like, were you happy with the result? It's like, did you do everything that you could have done to be at your best today?
Yeah.
And you know straight away. Yeah. Like, the look on their face, it's either absolutely I did, or it's a, oh. And when they, like, that look off, you're like, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest fear.
Yeah.
My biggest fear is, like, that's why I was so mad about New York. No, I don't know if mad is the right word to use, but, you know, I did seemingly so well, and it wasn't through fault of my own, but there were things that happened that controlled the outcome that wasn't making me at my best, and that will frustrate me until, like, the end of time. Is that one quote that I heard, like, a long time ago that stuck with me is, like, the worst idea of hell when you die is meeting the person that you could have been.
Yeah.
Like, that's my idea of hell.
Yeah.
It's like when I pass away and in the afterlife or whatever you believe in, right, is that, you know, I meet myself and who I could have been.
He's Mr. Olympia.
And he's got 3 Mr. Olympia titles.
Because he started bodybuilding at 20.
At 20, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of the way that I approach it, is that, you know, if you can control everything that you can control, then you should be happy with the outcome regardless. Yeah. Especially in something that's not quantifiable, like
absolutely.
bodybuilding.
Yeah. Would you has there been any, would you say the biggest setback that you had was, like, maybe that 2020, 2021 kind of where you were going to, where you thought you were shooing for the pro card? Like, do you think that was, like, the biggest setback you've experienced? Like,
I don't think it was a setback at all.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, is there anything that you can attribute to a time where there was, like, a setback and then you had to, like, kind of go back to the drawing board, lean on, like, you know, your mentality or something along those lines?
I suppose COVID. Like, COVID was a big setback for everyone.
Yeah.
But everything is about perception. So for me, I loved COVID. Loved it.
Good for you.
Because, and this is the way I kind of looked at it, because I, like, right when COVID happened, like, that's when I was, like, on the cusp of, like, taking the next step and, like, having a crack at the pro card. So I did the last Arnold's, which was, like, in a warehouse. It was like the COVID, they called it the COVID Classic. So we got an email 2 days before the event being like, this is where the location is. Don't tell anyone. Yeah. Type of scenario.
Yeah.
And I remember I think I placed second in the novice class in Classic, and then got smoked in the Open for whatever reason. I can't remember, but but that's when because that was, like, my first Classic crack, like, proper crack at Classic, and I was second in the novice. So I won the first timers, was second at novice at nationals, and I was like, okay, like, I'm on here, and then everyone into lockdown.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, I'm so close. But then I was like, wait a second. Everyone else is about to take time off. Like, everyone that was that just beat me now doesn't have anywhere to train. They don't care about anything. Like, we're going into lockdown. So this is when everyone was started paying, like, $20 per kilo per dumbbell, right? Yeah. So I, like, scrounged and got some of the most the tetanus shot before every time I walked into the gym type of scenario in my garage, because I was training with God knows what. But it was like that COVID period for me was like, this is my opportunity to leapfrog 20 other people right now. Yeah. And that's the way that I kind of looked at it.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's good. Is there any advice that you would give to any aspiring bodybuilder who either is wanting to just get into the sport or pursue it to the level that you are?
Do it for the right reasons.
Yeah. For
sure. Is that as long as you're doing what you love and you're not hurting anyone, and you're doing it because it's what you want to do, not because you see someone else receive something that you want, or, you know, it's often from a physical standpoint, right? Everyone starts lifting weights because they want to look better.
Yeah. Want to pick up chicks.
Yeah.
And just attract men.
And all you get is guys in your DMs asking your weight and asking if you can stand on them.
I just send unsolicited nudes to Matt.
You do, yeah. It makes my morning when I get when I get a Ben or Jason and send you a photo. I'm like, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. I'm ready. No, the best piece of advice is just enjoy what you do.
Yeah.
Right. I've not shied away from talking about, like, my mental health and stuff in the past, and a lot of, like, my bodybuilding contributes to that from a positive standpoint. Yeah. Like, I started weightlifting because I wanted to be better at basketball. Yeah. Like, that was why I started weight training. And then it quickly became, I started weight training because it was better for my mental health. I wanted to feel better. I didn't want to look better. I was happy with the way I looked. They always say that the best you ever look is the day before you start to start bodybuilding. Right?
Yeah, I don't remember that anymore. It's just been sorrow ever since.
Yeah. So it's like you think you look good, and then you decide to be a
then,
bodybuilder, and then you realize that you don't look good, right?
Yeah. So I've got 2 more questions.
Yeah.
How is it always looking at yourself under that lens? Is there time, like, can you sit there and be like,
It's debilitating.
Is there ever moments where you're like, I'm actually happy with like the progress I've made and what I look like? Or are you always just like, I need, this muscle group to be big. I need a bigger chest. I need bigger shoulders. I need bigger triceps. Like it's always more.
Yeah, this is kind of gonna go against everything that I just said. Like, but speaking openly and freely, I can probably count on one hand the amount of times I've looked in the mirror and been like, I like how I look.
I can only remember twice personally, so I can understand that.
Yeah, and and it's very, very hard to explain that to somebody. Like when you know, man, this is gonna sound bad coming out of my mouth, but when you know you look better than 99% of the population, how do you complain about the way you look?
Yeah, it's a bit rich, isn't it?
Right.
But then it's like with the sport itself, you have to be that way.
Yeah, it's funny though because I'm actually gonna. From your last podcast, this is how you know I'm an avid listener. This is the last podcast you talk about fat being like a relative term.
Yeah.
Same from like a body positive perspective.
Yeah.
Is that I know I look good.
Yeah, it's just you, but you have more fat than you previously did, and it needs to come off at some point.
Yeah. So yeah,
that doesn't change the way you act and show up though. Like you sit there and you're like,
no.
Yeah. So and it doesn't. Does it change how you interact with other people and your day and all that? Like, because that's the problem that we were talking about last week. Is like you can be like somewhat critical of your physique because you're trying to push it in a direction that's a standard that's really high that you hold yourself to.
Yeah.
You just can't get upset and treat other people a certain way or treat yourself a certain way because you're not there yet.
Yeah. And I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Is that, I was, regardless of how I look, how I feel, my stature, it's like, I was always raised from the standpoint of you treat the CEO and you treat the janitor the same way.
Absolutely.
And that's regardless of who I am, where I am, what I'm doing, how I look, whether I'm bulking or cutting, right?
Yeah. That's the most noticeable thing that I've experienced from meeting you compared to other people in your position.
That's very humbling to hear.
Is that you just treat everybody the same.
Yeah. Is that, I tell everyone I don't want to be remembered as a good bodybuilder. Like, I want to be remembered as a good person.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's way more important to me than...
Yeah, because that gets remembered way beyond...
100%.
Yeah, the bodybuilding.
But even recording the story for today, put it on socials, because I know that about you, and I was like, no offense, but it's for the podcast. We've got to G it up.
Yeah.
Like, IFBB Pro, Matt's coming in, and I almost felt like...
Yeah.
But it's Matt.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird.
But remember...
Because you're so... No, I'm just Matt.
I'm just me. Yeah.
But people remember that interaction that they had with someone that was real kind of personable than just when they saw you posing up on the... Like, if you're nice to everybody and you treat them all the same, they remember that compared to, like, your front double bicep.
And I think it matters more, too, when you are the pro or the, like, whatever status you are anywhere in life. When you're in a position of status that you can meet someone... See, like at their level, for lack of a better description, it feels even more important because they're like, oh, he didn't just brush me away. He was just like, how's your day or whatever.
It's crazy because I don't think of myself in that position.
Yeah.
That's good.
So when people
Which is why it works.
For sure.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So when people will sort of come up to me and be like, oh my God. I'm like, fuck you talking about?
Yeah. Just the guy.
I'm just me. I'm just hanging out.
Yeah.
And like, I'll show interest or, I get a lot of like social media, like DMs, people ask me questions or whatever, and I'll just like shoot the shit back. I'm like, oh, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to like, and I'm like, how many pieces of shit are there out there that like,
lots of them.
Yeah, there's a few.
Yeah.
And I mean,
be
like,
polite when you message Matt.
Just be polite, please. Yeah. Just say hello before you ask a question.
Don't demand.
Say hello before you ask a question.
Yeah.
It's that, I was, like I said, it's you treat the CEO the same way you treat the janitor. And another thing that I've always lived by, and I will say this until the day I die, is that be the person that you needed when you're in that position.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
all right.
Good.
You know,
good,
I think about
huge on that.
From a coaching standpoint, from an athlete standpoint, from a human standpoint.
Yep.
Right. I remember being a 12-year-old boy that
Just wanted to be huge.
didn't have a dad that right, but also wanted to be huge. I didn't want to be huge until I was 26. So it's a difference. But it's like in every aspect of life, is that someone people need me for me more than they need me for bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Right.
Agreed.
So that's more important to me.
And if bodybuilding allows you to connect with more people to be able to do that, it's pretty cool.
Which is why I'm so inclined to, to be open about my mental health, to talk about, issues that everyone goes through, not just bodybuilders go through.
Yeah.
And I hate to use this like terminology, but like using my platform for something other than this is how you do a bicep curl.
Yeah.
Right. That's so much more important to me.
Yeah. We both had that feedback from like the photo shoot too. It's like people would ask us like, how's the photo shoot? And we'd be like, well, the team was amazing. I had a great time. Like, were you happy?
Oh,
I'm like, I'm like really happy with how I look too.
Yeah.
But yeah, just being able to, people come in nervous, people, and even just like the coaching relationship, like you said, it's like being there, being the person that maybe someone never told them that they could do something and be good at it. Like that kind of shit is really cool.
It's really cool. And then to find out like years down the track that you played a pivotal role in something that you don't even remember. That's the biggest feedback that I get is when someone's like, oh, I remember seeing you like 5 years ago and you did this, this, and this, and it like changed my outlook on something. And I was like, I don't even remember that.
But still pretty cool.
But pretty cool that my default setting is to help someone.
Yeah.
My default setting is to be kind to someone. That's always good feedback. Or when you hear someone get back to you on something that it wasn't supposed to be, like when someone's talking behind your back and without them knowing that it's going to get back to you and it gets back to you and it's a positive thing, like that's always the best thing to hear.
Yeah.
I have one more question. It's going forever.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's just Tam's fault. It's Tam's problem, not ours.
Okay, cool.
Tam's fault.
He's not even here to defend himself. He's going to wait till he watches it back.
That's why I said it.
Perfect.
So, anyway, do you think there is a good way and I wouldn't say bad way, but a not so good way to pursue bodybuilding?
Absolutely.
And what would the distinguishment be?
There's an
between
efficient
those?
way and an inefficient way.
Yep.
To pursue bodybuilding.
Yep.
Depends which way you're looking at it. Can you be more specific? Like from a starting position?
What's the question?
What's the question? It's
the question is
my interpretation.
Yeah. So people look at bodybuilding and if they're none the wiser, any pursuit in any way possible makes them bigger, stronger, more shredded, but they don't understand the cost of it. Is it all just a positive and a good way of doing it and the end outcome is the end outcome? Or is there like two people take two roads and they both get to stage? Did one person take a better road than the other person?
Absolutely.
What would be the biggest distinguishments of those paths?
Who helped you get there? Is probably my first thought.
Yep.
Is that like
I'm trying to get down the route of like everybody thinks that someone like yourself is blasting heaps of shit, eating fuck tons of food, abusing every single compound under the sun. When you and I have conversations and you would look at that plan and not think it's for you. And then there's other people on the other side of it, like we've spoken about, and they're taking 5 times that, and they don't look anywhere near as, they don't even look like they use a quarter of that, let alone 5 times it. And I believe that is because their approach to bodybuilding isn't good enough. And that's the distinguishment.
The distinguishment is instant gratification.
Yeah.
So that's the distinguishment there. I like bodybuilding. And I want to bodybuild, and I want to continue to bodybuild for a long period of time. It's the people that are chasing a pro card, that are chasing a stature, that are chasing clout, that are using X, Y, and Z because they think that will get them there sooner, but it'll also get you to the finish line sooner. Of finish line of life.
Yeah, I was going to say not the finish line of bodybuilding.
So it's like the best way to sort of navigate that, going back to the last statement was like, be who you needed. Like find who you need at the same time is that there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. It's what's the best way to go about it. Find someone that's done it. Pay them for their services, first of all. Don't just blindly ask them questions. And learn and educate yourself. And that's probably the biggest difference is the people that are willing to learn and educate themselves about X, Y, and Z and PEDs and food and your health
and all
those
those
protocols
things.
and everything is that I think the internet can be the best place and the worst place sometimes. There's so much conflicting information and
absolutely.
It sounds like the difference between those two is like, is your intent to leverage bodybuilding for another outcome, or is your intent to bodybuild? That seems to be where the biggest gaps. Because even like we talk all the time about like the person that competes and then after competing they're like, it's fucking terrible for you and eating disorder this and that. It's like you were chasing something that you didn't get out of it and it fucked you.
Well, it's the same.
You weren't like, I fucking love this thing and I'm going to continue to do it for a long period of time and this is my sport. And like it's predominantly on the female athlete side is gave me an eating disorder and that kind of stuff. On the male side, it's drug abuse, it's all that kind of stuff.
I feel like men have the eating disorder, they just sit with it better.
Yeah, just don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, they just sit with it a lot better. I feel like both have. Yeah.
No, I definitely agree. It's the demonization of this sport and this industry is very easy to do.
Of course.
Because you hear of the negatives.
Yeah, and it's very invasive.
Very invasive.
The chances of it fucking something up are high because it's multifaceted. Correct. What you have to do.
Yeah.
Correct.
Affects your social life, affects your own personal self-esteem and confidence.
And you never get...
It's one of those things too that like everyone's gone to the gym.
Yeah.
We talk about this all the time. It's like, I go to the gym.
Yeah, I know.
I've eaten chicken once.
Yeah.
Like,
I've tracked the macro.
Yeah. Or even like, then you go to like...
I've taken T-bowl before.
T-bowl.
I've done a fat loss phase. Like it just, you know what I mean? Like people think that they've done the thing.
Yeah.
Because they've had exposure to the environment and it's the environment isn't the thing.
Yeah. It's... Come talk to me when you've done it for 10 years straight.
Yeah.
Then you've got the ability to... Like you said, we've seen every single person on the sun. Everyone can stick to a diet for 12 weeks and get lean.
Yeah.
Right? Can you reverse out? Can you make progress? Can you do it again a second time? Can you do it again a third time? Can you get better every time? Can you be more efficient every time? Can you take less drugs and do it? Right?
That's the goal, right?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
When you think about it.
100%. And from a longevity standpoint,
I have one more question now. Yeah. I could do this forever.
All day.
This is, and I need you to be as honest as possible.
Oh, I love where this is going. I'm not even going to think about my response.
Supplements, food, training.
Yeah.
Which one has the biggest bang for buck?
In terms of your outcome from bodybuilding standpoint?
Yeah.
Oof.
Training, food, supplements, in that order.
Yeah, and you're not just bullshitting.
I'm not bullshitting.
Yeah.
What if I put genetics in on this?
Well, but
there's levels.
Yeah, but you can't control that. So the other three you can control. So because I just
almost
know,
feel like it's important for some people to understand that.
Yeah, but I just know that there's people still who look at a man this size and just go, he's blasting out of his mind. And then it's like, I've trained with Matt.
Yeah.
And I see him train. And I see how dedicated he is with his food, with his fucking bucket of chicken that he's walking around everywhere with. Everywhere
I've got
he
it
goes.
here. I can bring it up.
That's it. It's like, you can't supplement your way out of that work.
Yeah, you can't.
The work in the gym and the work outside of the gym with your nutrition, the supplements enhances those things.
Supplement is like lower on that list.
Yeah,
it's last in my opinion.
It's enhancing. They enhance the rest of the stuff.
Yeah,
it doesn't fill gaps. It's not filling holes of like, this dude doesn't work hard enough. His program's shit. You know, he skimps on his calories and he's not prepared with his food. You do all of that stuff, these things actually get to work. Yeah. They don't get to fill the gaps.
You speak to any professional bodybuilder, and they say, what's the hardest thing to remember to do? Take your shots.
Yeah, because everything else is way more important.
I will not miss a meal. I will not miss a training session. I will get 8 hours of sleep with a fucking CPAP if I have to. Yeah. I will do all those things.
Yeah.
Fuck, when was the last time I pinned test? Shit.
Yeah.
I'll do it tomorrow. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, or they'll miss their GH shots. Because it's not that important. It's a supplementation to everything else that you're doing.
Yeah.
And like I tell everyone, like, the two most important things in bodybuilding is time and consistency.
Yeah.
That's it. You can't cheat those two.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You can't cheat time in the game, and you can't cheat consistency.
Yeah.
When everyone asks me what is the one thing that you attest to your success in this industry, I said, I've been doing this shit for a long time, and I haven't fucking taken a day off.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right, we're going to cut it there. I could do Joe Rogan 3 hours of this shit, but
He'll be back.
Yeah, absolutely, we have to because I got so much. There's just so many things I didn't get to talk about.
I'm wearing a wig next time.
We should all just come back on with wigs
and not acknowledge it.
No hats.
It has to be like Donald Trump ones, though, not like the shit that we just pulled up.
Yeah.
Not good ones.
Easy. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Perfect opportunity to hit that subscribe and follow button. You can find Matt on his socials at Matheu Orchard. Anywhere else, your website or anything like that?
No, I should probably look into that.
Yeah, all good. Well, yeah. You'll see him around the traps. Won't be the last time he's on the episodes. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.